good evening, everyone. And I want you to take a minute and I want you to share this segment. Yes, we are off our schedule on this evening, but I'm super excited because we are going to talk about it. So tonight's topic is, are you waiting on God or is God waiting on you? Which one is it? It's a question. It's actually, yes, a question is asked, are you waiting on God for a mate or is God waiting on you? So I want you guys to take a minute. We want you to share this segment. And I also want you guys to know that Dr. Hightower will be with us. He's running a little bit late, but he is going to be on the segment. So we're going to start off with two of my closest friends. And I'll just say from a guy's perspective, I'm going to go ahead and bring them on. They can introduce themselves. What's up? I can't hear y'all. I can't hear neither one of y'all.
Hello.
I just say y'all coming on like y'all shy. So just let everybody know who you are and where you're from so we can get started. Y'all know how it starts out.
Mr. Carter.
Now listen, I was gonna say we was just backstage having a whole conversation, and now y'all like two church mice.
Don't do that.
All right, just let everybody know.
I'll start first. Good evening, everyone. My name is Eric Dorman. I am from Salisbury, Maryland, and I attend Agape Community Center in Seaford, Delaware, on Coverdale Road.
Oh, okay.
11.
He tried to get the preacher voice in. All right, go ahead, Carter. Let everybody know who you are.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Carter Jarman. I'm from Milford, Delaware. I said just one of the co-hosts of this Keep It 100.
I actually, Carter, I was trying to see if I can pull the logo out of your face because all I see is the logo. So, all right, so I can't. I'll still work on it. So I want everybody to take and I want you to share this segment on tonight. And thank you guys for joining us again. I know we are off schedule. We normally go live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. But I wasn't feeling well this Tuesday, so I just let it slide and we decided to do tonight. So we're going to go ahead with our segment. We do have some people who will be joining us a little later. And we also have Dr. Hightower who will be joining us a little later as well. So the question is, are you waiting on God for a mate or is God waiting on you? And so I had that as a title actually because I wanted to hit a whole lot of stuff. So a lot of times I can't talk from a male's perspective, but I can talk from a woman's perspective. You know, waiting on God. We're waiting on God for a mate and doing it. You know, I say doing it the way God wants us to do. But sometimes it just seems like y'all not stepping up to the plate. And how come? Oh Lord, I don't even know why I'm asking y'all this question. But as a man, like, how come you don't step up to women like me? Go for it. Now, wait, don't use me. Don't use me, though. I'm just saying, like a strong woman who is not dating, a strong woman who is not out there in everybody's bed. Wait, and for those who are just joining, this is a very transparent show. This is a very blunt show. So we don't want to offend anybody. It is we just talk about it. Just want to make sure we put that disclaimer out there. All right, so go ahead and ask the question, guys.
Well, I don't think it's a matter of men not just stepping up to the plate. A lot of times, men have their reason for what we do. We're generally, we're not really random like that. Most of the time, we have a plan of action, and we have an idea of what it is that we're wanting. So sometimes what women do is cause that man to go, you know what, this course of action is not working, and we'll move on to something else.
Wait, what do you mean move on to something else? You said somebody else or something else?
Something else, because you do certain things, but men are results driven.
Okay,
And if
that's
what I'm doing, and if what I'm doing is not getting me the necessary or the desired results, then I change tactics and change plans. And if that doesn't work, eventually you say, you know what, uh, I'm wasting my time.
okay. So what if he's not? What if he's really not wasting his time, and that woman really wants to get to know who you are? Because listen, there's a lot of men, believe it or not, it's a lot of men that come at women as in, this is my wife, this is gonna be my wife, and so it's already stipulations on just the first date.
Well, when I say that, as far as it backing off, it's not necessarily that, you know what I mean. Oh, well, that it's that the woman doesn't want to get to know the guy, but you have to communicate some things. I mean, granted, you know what I mean. I don't mind the chase, but all I'm telling you to do is don't run full speed.
Okay, Eric.
Well,
I was gonna say, oh Lord, he's scratching his hair.
so a lot of times in the church world atmosphere, um, if you're in it 24/7, you have no opportunity to get to know an individual or even approach an individual if you're interested in them. Because if you're in church all the time, this is why you need to have a balance in ministry, and a lot of leaders don't believe in that. Excuse me. Um, so you have to make yourself available if you want to be a wife, if you want to be a husband, if you want to date, if you're interested in somebody, you got to do it outside of those four walls. But you can't be in them four walls 24/7. You have to take
Okay,
time to get. You have to take time to get to know an individual outside of ministry, because that person, you're not going to really know that person in ministry. You have to know their personal level and how they really are outside of ministry, because you could be holy in the church but
and
be a
being
thought
free.
in the streets to the lost shepherd. So you have to be very careful because people will put that mask on. They will portray that they all about Jesus 24/7, and nobody ever is. And if they are, they lying. So you
That
have to. We
that's
are
good.
we are in our flesh at times, and we get lonely. We're getting older. Our bodies are changing. So a lot of things, it ain't just spiritual. Sometimes some things are natural, and they go hand in hand.
Okay, so when do you know when to date? Because just because of the fact that you like someone doesn't mean that you have to date that individual. Because listen, it's a difference between dating and courting, right? I need y'all to talk to me because
Uh, uh, I don't do no courting. So I can't speak for nobody else.
so you just
Um,
listen. So I'm thinking. So if I'm just dating, and which I'm not, but if I'm just dating, that means I'm just getting to know you. Like we're just getting to know each other. If I'm courting with the mindset of this is my husband or this is possibility of a spouse.
okay, well, I don't do that. I believe in you should date for a purpose. Okay,
Okay.
if you want to keep it spiritual, date with a purpose. I'm sorry, date with a purpose. So don't be playing no games. This is something that you want, someone you want to connect to on a spiritual level, build a future with, grow in ministry with. We all getting older. All this little kiddie games, high school games is out the window. You
But
either want
wait,
me
so
or
it
you don't.
doesn't have to
That's
be,
my
but it
opinion.
doesn't have to be kiddie games. Okay, listen, Carter, I want you to jump in. So listen, so back in the day, okay, I'm over 50, so I may do it a little bit different. Back in the day, like, we took the
Wait a minute,
time.
you over 50. What are you talking about? You're not almost 50. What the world?
Hey,
Goodness
how you
gracious.
gonna pull me out? How you gonna pull me out on the carpet on that one? So listen,
Ooh.
back in the day, and people they really don't do this anymore. If you be honest. So back in the day, people would take the time to have conversation on the phone, or they would take the time to just get to know that individual before they step out there and just start dating. Because listen, you can't. I'm not gonna say you can't control the feelings, but a lot of people they base stuff off of the emotions. The emotions can lie to you. And then if I'm a not this isn't me, but I'm just saying a woman who is not fully delivered or a man that's not fully delivered, you can get beside a person that you like, and those those hormones, those, those those acting up, and then you get it twisted where you think you in love or you think you really like that person, but that's just your flesh. So what about building a bond before you start dating? What do you think about that?
I again, I'm all for that. I'm all for, you know what I mean. Like I said, you take the time to communicate with one another and what have you, and get to know the individual some before you go out. No problem. But at some point, you know what I mean. Don't get talking on the phone is nice, texting is nice, but at some point, I'm gonna want to sit down across the table from you and have a face to face conversation. At
That's
some
different.
at some point, you know what I mean. At some point, I'm gonna want to spend some time with the individual, because again, you know what I mean. You could tell me whatever you want over the phone. Uh, I want to sit down in the restaurant and see how you treat the servers.
Okay. Okay.
I you know what I mean. I want to see that when they if they don't bring your food when they should, whether you know what I mean, whether you get hangry. You know what I'm saying? I want to see how you respond when there's going to be people in the restaurant that know me or know the other person. You know what I mean? I want to see how you respond when somebody comes up and speaks.
All right, Eric, because I got something to say on that, and this is I only can relate it to me. I can't relate it to other women out there. I only can relate it to me. But Eric, go ahead. Why are you smiling?
Because a song came across my mind. Quality time with you. When I was in the world, we used to listen to them songs, them slow jams, right? So, and before I respond to your question, Meshell.A, I just want to recognize the eye wink frames that I'm rocking on tonight.
I love it. Hold on. Let me
Support.
bring you up. Let me bring
I
you
need
up.
you to support my sister and her business. I need you to support her business. It makes me look real professional, like I'm a doctor on tonight. Don't Ain't I
I love
sexy?
it.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do
I
it.
can't stand you, Eric. Go ahead and answer the
but
question.
but yeah, excuse me. I'm going to agree with my brother, Elder Carter. Yes, all that talking and texting and video chatting is fine. It's okay. But we want to see face to face. I want to see if you're 300 pounds or if you 180, because a lot of women, they're only going to show their neck up when you're chatting and stuff. They play them games, and I'm not doing a whole bunch of wrestling. I'm too old, me personally. But I'm just saying that you're not going to get to know a person unless you see them face to face, one-on-one time.
Okay.
Now, if you don't feel
Okay. So
comfortable, and tell now, don't force a woman to do these things. Let her know when you're comfortable and you're ready to go out, then the offer is open.
so
If not,
listen,
it's a long time in the world.
I really think, and I know that you two aren't speaking for all men. So the ones who are viewing, I want to make sure that they know that you two aren't speaking for all men. Because if you were speaking for all men, you two would have me hating men with y'all's responses. So
Oh,
listen, I want to read this comment. I want to read this comment which says, I think you should get to know the individual and then get to the point of seeing how they act. And I'm in agreement. That's why
I
I
agree.
said I just believe in well, first of all, I know Carter, I see you, but first of all, I just don't give my phone number out to any and everybody. But if I take a minute and I give you my phone number, then that's mean I'm giving you the yellow light to be able to get to know me. And then if I feel comfortable, listen, I'm the first one, y'all to know I love to eat. I love to eat. And back in the day, I would go on a date, and I'm gonna be real because y'all already know how I was. I'm not like that now, but I would go on a date just because it's free food. I ain't need to like you. Like you, we go on a date and you pay for it, and I'll leave the tip. But that's just free food. It did not mean anything to me. I know now that I'm matured and I'm older. I don't want to waste my time on someone that's not a possibility of being made. I don't let everybody just get to know me. And most men, they're not dating with a purpose. Well, some women too. They're just dating just to have fun, like thinking like I used to think. It's free food. Let's go bowling. Okay, I can get some free French fries because I'm on a date, and I don't have time. I don't really have time for that. So go ahead. What's your thoughts?
Well, I understand what individuals coming from with saying that, hey, I mean, you would want to get to know the person first. But, you know, me, I need to see, there's some things I have to see about an individual. In my season, there was a young lady that I liked. We got to know each other, talked around to one another, what have you. Maybe we church together the whole bit. But the thing that turned me off, I got the opportunity to be around that young lady and her daughter. And the way she talked to her daughter, I was like, baby, if you ever talk to Carmen like that, me and you gonna have a serious issue. You know what I mean? And so there are some things that I want to see as far as, what I mean, what type of person you are. You know what I mean? And you can say what you want. I said, all the conversation in the world, that tells me that we have some things in common from the conversation. We may have some goals in common. We may have some likes and dislikes in common. But I need to see how you treat people. I need to
So,
see how
but
you talk.
do you need to see that right from the door? Like literally right from the
Um,
door without really getting to know the end. Because listen, as you was
yeah,
giving your demonstration, you were talking and you said you seen her at church, you guys talked a little bit, and then you met her. That's different. That's not like the first day I meet you, I'm gonna go on a date that same night. Why?
no, that's what I was getting at. I'm not saying that, immediately the first thing we got to do is we got to go out. You know what I mean? Again,
Okay,
there are
Eric, like, yes, we
stages,
do.
there are stages in process. You know what I mean? Do take the time, what I mean, to have some conversation and see if we're compatible at all. To see if we're, what I mean, like I said, what I mean, going in the same direction and liking some of the same things. But then, like I said, I'm gonna want to see what your attitude like.
Okay. All right, Eric. Go ahead.
I think it just depends on the individuals, the chemistry. Um, of course, the normal old fashioned Fred Flintstone way is to
I can't stand
get to
you. You're
know
ignorant.
get to know the person before you even see them face to face. Ain't nobody got time for this stuff no more. We getting old. Some of us are getting old. I know I am. I'm going on 49 years old. I
Listen,
ain't
and that's why people are
either.
getting married and getting divorced. They're
Well,
getting
see,
caught up and making
no, no,
decisions in
no.
the flesh.
It's not about getting caught up. You got to have your own mind. Okay, you don't do anything that you're not ready to do. That's the problem. People are listening to people telling them go ahead get married. Don't it's better to marry than to burn. All that type stuff. Okay, yeah, that's fine and dandy. But look at the divorce rate in the church in the Christian world. Look at it because
Hello.
people got married for the wrong reasons.
That was good.
You
That
have
was
to
good. Eric.
not only do you have to date with purpose, you got to marry with purpose.
Married
It
with
can't
purpose.
be a fleshly thing all the time. You got to have it spiritual at least 80% of the time. I think
So,
because if
okay, well, you just said a while ago though about not being in church all the time, but you're
yeah
saying you got to see them in church at least the
no
majority of the relationship,
no
right?
no. What I'm saying is keep it spiritual at least 80% of the time because as us being preachers' kids, being well, I'm the only one that's not a minister on this panel right now, but it's in me. I just it's been suppressed. But as being a future leader, as being a future leader or a minister in the gospel, I need somebody that's on that same level, if not above. Someone that can push me, have my backbone. Because I don't
Okay,
need nobody to have my back in the natural. I can handle that. I need somebody that
okay,
can pray and intercede for me in the spirit realm. You see what I'm saying? So you can't just be dating anybody because they look good or they got a nice body. 'Cause that mess that's nothing. You know what I'm saying? You got to have someone that you're compatible with in more ways than one.
okay. So let me ask this question. I got a couple questions. So, do you believe it? Do you believe that it is such a thing as waiting on God for a mate, or is that something they say in church? Is it simply a thing of waiting on God for a mate?
That's church doctrine. Is what I call it. Um, if you're trying to find a mate in the church realm, then you must first pray and ask God to either send me what I desire, or is this the one? Because the flesh
So no,
can
I
easily
believe that.
step up.
I'm gonna cut you off. I'm gonna cut you off with that. I do believe that there is a process. Okay, so I don't know how it works for the men because the scriptures say he that findeth the wife. So which simply means
Mhm.
you guys have permission, or should I say, you guys have the green light to go and find a mate. But as a woman, I do believe that we should be waiting. We should be preparing ourselves. We should be adorning ourselves to make sure that when he comes or when he finds us, that I don't want to say equipped. First of all, that I'm mentally available, I'm physically available, and that I have that prayer life. So I do believe that in waiting on God as a woman, like I said, it is a thing for a woman to wait on the God, on a mate and prepare herself.
Well, how
Eric,
long
why is
is
your
it going to
face
take you
looking
to
like,
wait?
why is your face like that?
Because how long is it going to take you to wait? 70
It, it,
years?
it'll,
You'll be
take, it, it,
halfway
it'll,
dead by then.
it'll take long enough for him to come after me.
What?
Mm. Um,
Your turn.
well, I'm
Yeah.
gonna say I'm gonna say this to that.
Face though.
Everybody likes to talk, especially from the church perspective. Everybody wants to talk about Ruth and Boaz. Well, Ruth wasn't in the house, and Boaz saw Ruth and said, mm, he didn't think about her. He ain't say nothing about her prayer life. He ain't he didn't ask he didn't ask did she have a relationship with the Lord. He looked at her and said, she was pleasing. You know what I'm saying? So there's going to be something there. You know what I mean? There has to be something there to draw. You know what I mean? To draw me to even want to have a conversation with. You know what I
Okay.
mean? But on the flip side, I say, you know what I mean? But Ruth wasn't in the house. Ruth was out doing what she did.
But
And
okay, but hold on, wait, Carter, because that story, that little story, that's nice, that's good and everything. But if you really think about it, look at Eric. Just hear me out. Okay, so Boaz did what he did as a man. Um, And if you think about what Ruth did, she still prepared herself. She went out in the field and she just, she was gleaning, but he was setting her up. I was gonna say setting her up for failure, but he set her up for failure. But
mm,
she still didn't like, she didn't like, she made
he,
herself
he, he working
presentable.
on something.
Right. She made herself presentable. And even in that process, even when she went to change his, he didn't just jump in his bed. She laid at the feet, and then it was his. I don't know. He was the one that wanted to marry her. It wasn't Ruth, but she already was in. That's what I'm trying to say. She was in position. She was where she needed to be at to be found. If that makes sense.
Right.
Being that,
And
but
and and that was not in
are
the
y'all
house.
even waiting for a roof? Y'all not even
But
waiting for a roof. Y'all, most men nowadays don't even want a roof. Look at Eric.
but that wasn't in the house.
Eric
She
went
was
at Jezebel.
she was
He don't even want to. And you know what? And I know we making light of this, but if you be honest, some men don't really want a roof. In 2022, it's a lot of men who want aggressive women. They want women to come after them. They want women to ask them to marry them. They want women who have their own houses, their own cars, so they can step up into it. I mean, come on, let's talk.
because for real, roles have switched, and it's wrong. You know what I mean? It's flat out wrong because you know what I mean. Men used to work hard. Now most of these brothers is sitting home doing nothing, waiting on you know what I mean, waiting on a woman to come and bring them some lunch.
They're not
You know what I
getting it.
mean? The roles have
Husband
completely
will.
switched. You know what I mean? And I'm like, man, this I know somebody ain't gonna like what I'm about to say, but I'm looking at some of these sisters. I'm going, how in the devil is this rascal driving your car around every day? Because he got no car.
So because in 2022, that's what love looks like. That's what love looks like to them.
Mm-mm.
Listen, I wanted to say this. I'm gonna
No,
flip the script.
that ain't her man. That's her son.
That's what?
That's not her man. That's her son.
That's her son. Ah, okay, so listen, I want to flip the scripture for a minute because we're talking about the woman that waited. Well, no, he didn't even wait. I was gonna say something about who was that waited for? He waited for somebody, but it ended up with Leah. But he
Oh,
worked.
Jacob.
He worked all the many years. So it's
Jacob.
he. Yeah, Jacob. He knew what he wanted. He knew who he wanted, and he worked. He waited for what he wanted, even though he didn't get what he wanted. And then when he realized he got the wrong person, he worked another number of years for who he wanted.
And made babies in the process.
So I guess he didn't
Oh,
wait.
oh, oh, oh.
So Eric, what was you shaking your head for? Wait. I want somebody to read this. It says that I believe that the Lord will make sure that the both of you will be ready for each other. That way, when the man finds a wife, she is all honey. Listen, that's what I've been saying the whole time. When he's ready to find when the man finds a wife, she is ready. She is already ready and not getting ready. That's why the divorce rate is high now because we rushing and not being patient. That part right there. All right, Eric, go for it. You got the floor. I say the Lord won't even let us hear that foolishness. I can't. We can't hear you. Look, the Lord shut that mess down. He was going to say something dumb. I guess the Lord said you're gonna have to. You might have to go out and come back in. I don't know. Did you move?
So
Listen, I wanted to make sure. I really wanted to hear what he had to say on that because I know he was getting ready to say something. So that's what I was saying earlier. As long as you are in your process of waiting for a mate, like you still got to work. I'll be telling these brothers, listen, I done the work. I'm not just a girlfriend over here. You know, I'm not just a side chick over here. I done been a girlfriend. I done been a side chick. I done been the jump off. Listen, I'm a whole wife right now. And I did the work. I worked on my baggage. I might didn't get all of it, but I worked on my baggage, the unforgiveness or the soul ties, all that kind of stuff. That's what you're supposed to be doing when you're waiting on a mate. And I believe that in God's time and when God sees that you're ready, he will bring that person. But boo, you still got to use discernment, honey. Because just like God bring them, the devil bring them too. And you got to know which one is what. Because you don't want to get look, Eric. I know good well you ready. But listen, nowadays we getting tied up and tangled up and wrapped up with the wrong person. And it is just not worth it. Like if you don't waited that long and trying to get yourself together and mentally and making sure that you are making sure that you're celibate and all that kind of stuff. Listen, I just don't want just anybody who said that God sent them. I'm sorry, you're not just going to get into my floodgates. Oh my God, you're just not going to get into the just because. Listen, let me say it quickly. You're just not going to get into the floodgates of heaven just because you said God sent you and God told you I was your wife. Listen,
let it
I
rain.
six other people that's told me God said that they were the ones. And because I did not have a relationship with God, I got off focus and I entertained it. I enjoyed the relationship. I got the benefits. You know, I had sex and all that kind of stuff while I was in church. And I know it says you shouldn't, but I got so off focus in the flesh. You can't trust the flesh, Carter. You can't, I don't care how deep, how much you know the word. You cannot trust the flesh. And especially if you're thinking that person is the one. Listen, my mindset was, and he would tell me, God already said that we the one and we engaged. Everything was wrong with it because I'm not with him today. I'm not with neither, none, six of them. today. But go ahead, Eric. Are you with us? Oh man, Eric, you might have to come out and come back in. Wait. Okay. All right, Carter. What's your thoughts on that?
Like I said, the individual saying that you would be prepared, and I understand about being prepared, but when it comes to the divorce rate or what have you in churches and what have you, I don't believe it's all about being not being prepared. I don't even believe it's all about not meeting the right person. You know what I mean? People don't understand that relationships really are work. And if you're not committed to doing the work, uh, you know what I mean, you will definitely be part of a failed relationship.
So wait a minute though. In a way, it kind of is Carter, because listen, if you've not taken care of going through the process of being healed, of being delivered, and getting to know that person, it can be a cause of divorce. Because I've come into this relationship, this so-called marriage, and I still got feelings for John, Dick, and Harry, or I still have unforgiveness in my because of so did, and now you do the same thing, and now I react. So I kind of think it does. I,
Yeah,
I'm not.
I saw somebody make a comment about that, about being fully healed before you must close the chapter before you can move to the next chapter.
No, this is
Meaning,
it right there. Yeah.
so you can't you got to close that door completely before you can move on, because otherwise you're gonna be carrying baggage into your new relationship, and that can be very dangerous to um, the mindset and the emotional side of an individual's mindset. So you have to be very, very careful with that. You have to be fully healed. And sometimes they say, moving on is the best, but sometimes some people take longer than others to heal.
Hmm.
You may still have feelings for the individual, even though he treated you or she treated you like a dog, like a piece of meat. You know, everybody has different levels of healing. So I wouldn't wander in it for so long, because then you could miss out on someone that really God has for you, and because of you still being in your slump, or your depression mode, you miss out on.
So
So
now I do believe that. Okay, so we're talking about trying to make sure that you get healed in that area before marriage. Okay, so
before even dating somebody else,
right.
forget
So
marriage.
but some
It's
people
a
some
process.
people aren't. Some people listen. Some aren't. Some people it's a process for them. So listen, I'm always transparent. So there has been guys that were placed in my life that I believe they were placed in my life for healing, or either me to help walk them through their healing process. But we got it twisted and thought that we were supposed to be together as a couple and jack that up. You know what I mean? So I believe that God, I don't want to say God, but I do believe that there are people that are placed in your life to help you walk through the healing process. So listen, if I never had a man, which I have, but if I never had a man that opened doors for me, that was a gentleman to me, and all my life I have men who beat on me. But if I never had someone come along and do that, then I wouldn't even know that that's what's supposed to be done. So that allows me to walk through some healing process in my life because I'm receiving it, and it causes me to put my word walls down to be able to embrace it. That makes sense. But
Absolutely.
sometimes we get it twisted up. We think that's our husband. That's my husband. That's my wife. And it's not.
Not at all.
I do believe that there's
This
people
is
that
when you
God.
got to have discernment. This is when your discernment kicks in, because
So
a lot
listen,
of
I
people
don't know
play
who this. I
dumb.
want somebody to read this because these are honey, whoever this is, they making great big old stuff. All right. But if you said a guy said that was your wife, then he is going to make sure that you two will be able to go through the trials together without running away. Oh, honey, listen, honey, they preaching without running away from each other. And you both know that God ordained your marriage.
Yeah, that's the key. That's the
And
key
that's a
right
great
there.
thing.
That it be God ordained.
So how do you know whether it's God ordained or whether it's you?
But this
That's why
submission.
you pray and seek God before your spouse or your significant other. It's not hard to do,
It's not
but
hard to do, but while
most of
ago
us
you
don't want to wait.
said, okay, but while ago you said don't spend as much time in the church. You need to go outside of
Yes,
the church and date to get to know
exactly.
each other.
Exactly. You could pray at home. You could pray in your car, in the bathroom, and say, "Lord, is this the man for me, or is this just the woman for me?"
But don't you
It don't
believe
take
in
all that.
getting? But don't you
It don't
believe
take.
in getting
Sometimes people
emotionally?
get too spiritual
But don't you believe in getting emotionally tied to people?
do I believe in spiritual.
I didn't even say anything about sex. Just emotionally tied to people.
It can happen. Yes. It depends. Once again, it goes back to it depends on those individuals and if they have that type of chemistry. Some people fall in love at first sight. Some people it takes 20 years. Some people it takes 2 years. Some people it takes 6 months, and they stay married for 40 years. It just depends on your mindset. You can't put a
Okay.
time frame on um, when you're ready and when you're not ready. A lot of
Okay.
women
Good.
got the standards too high. This
Okay.
is why
All
they
right.
never been. So I mean, it
So
just depends on the individual.
all right, let me ask you this question. I'm just going to throw this left in because both of you are very good friends of mine, been friends for years. So, a woman like me, I didn't say me, I said a woman like me. Do you think God is waiting on me or do you think I'm waiting on a mate? A woman like me. A woman like me, y'all, because y'all ain't going to embarrass me out here. I already know what Eric's answers, but just go ahead. Y'all good. And neither one of y'all said
Listen,
a word.
listen. Let me listen. I don't know. I don't know who you waiting on. Me personally, uh, I've been knowing you for over almost 30 years, and I've seen the bad show. I've seen the good show. So you've come a long way. I will say that. But someone, excuse me, like once again, it all depends on the individual. Because someone like you that's waiting, you want to make sure it's right. You want the spiritual connection. You don't want no foolishness. You ain't worrying about the money aspect of it because you already favored with that money blessing anyway. And that's what a lot of men don't understand. You are a woman of stature and integrity, and a man just can't come at you sideways in any kind of way because you've been there and done that. You was the player, you hurt, you got hurt. Uh,
True.
so you've been there and done that. You know this is why you about 57 years old. I mean 52 years old.
I
But
can't stand
so,
you.
sometimes experience is the best teacher, and a lot of people don't believe that either. But
Hmm.
sometimes you have to experience the bad to appreciate the good. If that makes sense.
That's good. And that makes a whole lot of sense. Okay, so but for women, for strong women like me, sometimes a lot of men get it mixed up. They get mixed signals thinking that a woman like me does not want to be married or doesn't want a spouse, and that's not it at all. Um,
First of all, you a pooty cat anyway. You try to play hard, but you really, really not. You really, really not. You try to play
I
hard,
didn't say I
but you
was.
but you want a husband. You want to be married, but you want him to be the right one
Yeah,
for
and
you,
that's what I'm saying. It's
not
a
the
lot of
right
women
one for
out there.
everybody else. You
It's
want
a
the
lot of
right one
women
for
out
you.
there who are like that, who are just not willing to drop their standards just to play in the mud for a little bit.
And guess
I mean,
what? You don't have to.
I played in the
It's
mud
your
a
life.
long time ago for a long time, but if
Excuse me.
you want to play in the mud anymore, there's nothing
But
wrong
see,
with that.
that's the thing. That's your life. If that's what you choose to do, don't feel bad because your standards are where they are. Just know you could be possibly missing good men for you, a God
Uh,
sent man.
all right, Carter,
But
your turn. But listen, if God, I just believe in that God will make sure that you get. If you're waiting and you're doing it the right way, God is not going to overlook you. That's not the kind of father that we have. He's just God. God's just not going to do that. He's not going to. He's not going to leave you in the dark while all these other people is getting married. I'm not talking about holding on. and waiting and stalling, that's something different. If you're stalling and all, that's something different. You can get overlooked. But if you're in the palm, and I hate to make it seem so spiritual, but if you're waiting for that right connect, I'm sorry, I just don't believe that God is going to overlook you and not bless you, and you're doing it the right way. I just don't believe that.
Well, that sounds good, being spiritual and waiting on the Lord and
Oh
all of that.
God.
But
Anyway, Carter,
everybody,
what do you?
everybody is not on that level.
Yeah, but
Everybody's not on that
you don't
level.
want to
So
discourage people who are
I'm not.
you don't want to, and I know that's not what you're doing, but listen, you don't want to encourage people who do have faith like that, who believe that God will come through, because He will come through. And to everybody else, it may look like, dag, she hitting 70. I've seen people who got married in their 60s and happily married, and because they
First
waited.
marriage, their first
And
marriage.
first marriage, yes.
I don't know
See,
nobody like that. But anyway,
well,
now
that's you.
it's a song. It's a song.
You
I
such
used to
a
play for a
hater.
quartet
You a
group.
hater.
I used to play for a quartet drums for a quartet group when I was like 16. And one of the songs was, if you make one step, he'll make two.
Okay, hold on, Carter. I want you to say. I, I, okay, hold that thought, because I just read a
Or vice
comment.
versa. Or is it, if you
Listen,
make
I just read a comment, and I want to read this out loud, because that is true, and women like us
Yep, yep.
get overlooked.
God will
Okay.
give you the desires of your heart. Yes, Lord. Tell the Lord,
Okay,
thank
so
you. Yes.
this person
See that?
says sometimes a strong woman like you can't no man just approach you any kind of way, and some men are intimidated. Listen, all right, Carter, talk, because that's not fair to us, because we are already free. Okay, so just because something looks like it on the outside does not mean that's what it is. I look like I got a lot of stuff that's going for me, but my heart is so genuine to the fact that not just I want a mate, like I need a husband. Now, please don't everybody come knocking on my door in my inbox. Don't do that. But anyway, go ahead, Carter.
Well, my thing for that was, granted, you can be strong, but you can still be approachable. There's nothing, there's nothing wrong with allowing yourself to be open enough where an individual can approach you. A lot of times when people, or let me say with women, a lot of women will put on an air. You know what I mean? Oh, I'm a strong woman, I'm a strong woman. But if marriage is what you want, if a man is what you want, then sometimes, you have to remember, don't forget your femininity. Don't
That's
forget,
important.
don't don't forget, to be, just be pleasant to the gentleman that speaks to you. Just because he speaks to you, doesn't mean he's trying to take you to bed. He very well may be that guy that just got up the nerve to say, "Hey, how you doing?" You know what I'm saying? So it's strength is great. Being independent is great. Doing your own thing, kudos. But if it's truly your desire to be a wife, if it's truly your desire to be in relationship, then the same way as men have to put themselves, because we got to be the ones to put ourselves out there.
Mm-hmm.
So when we have to put ourselves out there, the woman has to put herself out there to some degree to just to be available.
So I want to go to the end of that comment, because at the end of
Be
that
approachable.
comment it says, and men are intimidated. That didn't have anything to do with the demeanor of the woman. It had to do with a man not stepping in. I had a lot of friends, and that's what they would say. Like, I was afraid to step up to you, and then I'm on the other side. How come men don't ask me out? You understand what I'm saying? So it may not be the woman. It's like if that man, okay, just for instance, okay, Carter and I, we're real good friends. I can't use Eric because me and Eric been friends forever, close to 30 years, if not 30. But I'll use Carter just on a friendship level. Like, I'll let you, Carter, you can share. You can share. You can just share with them when you met me, or when you and what you thought. Like, just be honest, because it happens.
Oh yeah. Well, now mind you, my initial impression was from you interviewing Apostle Helena and Bishop Mifflin and different ones. And out of that, I was like, man, that sister got it going on. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? That sister is like that in the Lord. You know what I mean? I didn't know that she had the funny side. I didn't know that she was, you know what I mean, fun and enjoyable. You know what I mean? Because all I saw was, you know what I mean, out of those interviews and what have you, was the ministry. You know what I mean? So I looked at the ministry and was like, man, yo, she got it going on.
I do have it going on. Don't do that.
No. I'm saying, I was like, she got it going on in ministry. You know what I'm saying? And so I could, you know what I mean, I could see that she was prophetic. I could see that, you know what I mean, that she was truly compassionate towards the people and what have you that she was dealing with, and talking to and concerned about their issues. Uh, but I was like, man, listen here. Uh, the brother that comes to her has got to be an apostle. He's got to be a prophet. He's got to be a bishop. You know what I'm saying? Because again, like I say, you know, and that's what I was getting at in even earlier about in that conversation about being available. You know what I mean? We're multifaceted people. If an individual only ever sees me at church or only ever sees me in the pulpit and what have you, you know what I mean? They'll never know that I'm hilarious. They'll never know that I see humor in just about everything. They'll never, you know what I mean? They'll never know that. Well, I ain't gonna tell them everything, but you know what I mean. But so that's why I think it's more important to even to go back to the original statement of about getting out and being around that person, because you don't get to see the other side of those people. You only see them in one facet. But I can't marry a prophetess or a pastor or a bishop or whatever the case, whatever that woman is. I can't marry just that, because if the only compatibility we have is us being ministry minded, you know what I mean, there's other sides to us. We're body, soul, and spirit. So if all we've ever contended with is the spiritual aspect of things, then what you know what I mean, we've not dealt with anything in the natural. You know what I mean? We're in the flesh a lot more than we're in the spirit, whether we want to admit it or not.
True.
And we need to deal with some fleshly things.
Right.
I think you're on mute.
Yeah, I think Shell's on mute. You on mute?
I am. I'm sorry. I said going back to the original question, but when you approached me, you realized that I was just as human as the next person. And
True.
if he had not, because she was saying, or whoever it was, about men being intimidated, but if he had not approached me, then he wouldn't have got the opportunity to know that I'm real laid back. Like Carter, listen, I pick up the phone and I call Carter 24/7. And if I'm going through something or I just need to talk, I go to Carter. But if he had never took that initial step to see who I really was, then that bond would have never even been made.
Let me
And
tell you
even in
something.
that,
This.
and that was an opportunity. You know what I mean? That was truly, you know what I mean? I think that was something your mother was having or whatever the case is, and that was the first time I'd ever been in your presence. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So, you know what I mean? So again, so those are just, you know what I mean? I said there are so many different ways of where we can be available and where we could actually meet and have a conversation or what have you. Um, yeah,
So we say all that to say, whoever wrote that, some men, if you see women like that who seem like they are strong individuals, listen, I'll tell you now, it's a lot of women out there who are very strong. They're strong minded. They're strong willed. They're independent. Listen, real talk. That's because we have to be. That's because we have to be. Like I open my own door. I take my own trash out. I pay my own bills. I ain't got no sugar daddy, so I have to be strong. And so, if you as a man I, intimidated is a big word, but if you as a man are intimidated of stepping up and asking that person out or just having a conversation, Listen, get that stuff out of your head, because on the other side, the woman may be saying, the woman may be waiting. Like that right there, that that woman made that. I don't know. She may be intrigued by that because if no one else ever stepped up to the plate and then you did, that might be your lucky day. You never know if you don't step up to the plate and do that. Go ahead. Okay. But if people are actually making some comments, I wanted to hit those comments, but I didn't want to be reading no books all night. Okay, so when people say, let me pull this out right here. Okay, so when people say hashtag strong woman or strong men, what exactly is the strength found in that? Is this a strength in trusting God, or pride of feeling 100% sufficient? I said that word wrong. In established
Sufficient.
by materialistic stuff. So one of y'all answer that. Now I just say, when I say I'm a strong woman, I just say I've been through a lot. I've been through a lot, and not just anything is just going to break me. That's what I mean. I don't know. When you say a strong woman, Carter, what do you mean, Eric? When you say a strong woman, what is it that you mean?
Um, I, I, I would say a strong woman knows who she is in the natural and in the spiritual. She's very independent, um, strong minded. Uh, you're not gonna be able to get over and walk over top of her. A strong woman, and you'll be able to tell that. She won't have to say anything. Um, and all that other stuff that some of these women do, and standards. This is why they've been single for so long. This is why they're not married. Some, I'm not gonna say all. And it's okay, ladies, if you want to have your high standards, you want somebody making 6, 8 figures, you keep on dreaming. Um, it's not gonna happen in today's society. It's gonna take two.
It
Back in the
can
day,
happen. Don't say
listen,
that. It
woman,
can.
don't interrupt me when I'm talking. It's gonna take two heads in order to maintain in today's society. You can't expect a man to bring home the bacon and you cook it and you sit home all day. It's not going to happen. A man doesn't want to work hard all his life to take care of a woman.
That's
It takes two.
you.
It takes
That's
two.
you. That's
Well,
you. Listen,
I'm gonna say
listen.
me. I'm gonna say
Okay.
me. This is why a lot
I
of
can't
women are
happen.
single because they want a man to take care of them 100%. It's not gonna happen. You go to
Listen. So
Hollywood, you go to Hollywood somewhere and find a man, a
hold
superstar
on.
that's making that kind
Listen.
of money. You're not gonna
Listen.
find it on the Eastern Shore. It's not gonna happen.
So listen, for those women that's waiting for that, it is possible. It is possible. I've seen it happen. I promise you, I've seen it happen. So she didn't have nothing. She literally had nothing. She had an awesome prayer life, but she didn't have nothing. And this man loved her and wanted her to have the best. He didn't want her to work. He did not want her to do anything. So I'm just gonna say, just to just to
Where's
go
she at?
aside, just to go aside with
Is she
what Eric.
married?
Listen, hold
Is
on.
this
Yes,
woman you talking about still
she
married?
is. She is married. She is married. Listen. So it is some men who are out there who are still traditional. It's some men out there who will open the door. It's and I don't want to just say it's some good men out there, because it's good men who don't do that, and they're still good men. But there are men who
I'm one
are
of them.
traditional. Who,
I'm
I
not.
can't
I'm not
stand
gonna
you.
take care. No, I'm not gonna take care of you. We're gonna work together. We're gonna do
Listen,
this thing 100, 100. Okay?
listen,
No,
okay. So listen, a guy will give you the desires of your heart, and it's men out there who will. And listen, and if you are a man who want a woman who will take care of him, it's women out there. I think that's backwards, but if that's what you want, it's women out there who will do that. Who don't want you to work, who want you to put your feet up, they massage your feet and they take care of you. It's women out there. Listen, so I don't go blocking that,
no
because
wrong
it
with that.
is men out there who will do that, who don't want. It's men out there who just want a wife. They get married, they have a church. They don't want a first lady. They want a wife. Like the first lady. They just want them to come. And I've seen it. That's why I'm saying it. Like they just want them with their wife to come to church and wear big hats and look cute. And when they come home, they want
Flower
them
baskets.
they want they want them to do the role, the duties of a wife. All they want is for them to be a wife. So it depends on what you want, what you're looking for, and if you can wait and be patient, it'll happen. Okay, so most time that God is waiting on us to get it together. He's waiting on us to be healed. He's waiting on us to let go of our ex. Like we go into relationships expecting for this person that we're with now to treat us the way that the other person. Listen, that may not be what you get. No, the scripture said God knows what you have need of. I might have had that scripture backwards, but it's saying like He doesn't really give you what you want; He'll give you what you need. I'm somebody dark and handsome, and God might say, "No, I'm gonna give you somebody who's 4 feet." And this guy, well, Eric looked up like that, but this guy who's 4 feet might give you everything that you want, everything that you need, spiritually and natural. Because listen, I want a whole package. I just don't want you to be. I just don't want you to be spiritual minded with me. I can do that by myself. Listen, I want the whole. I want everything that comes in the Cracker Jack box, and I want to be surprised. Oh, I got excited about that.
So you mean to tell me that you would, if the Lord sent you a spiritual midget, that you would be content with that? Is that what you're saying, Sister Applewhite?
Listen, I can't really respond what I want to respond on this live because I'm the host. But if that's what God, listen, if that's what God wanted me to have, 4 feet, all He gonna do is be down by my bosom. That's okay.
I can
God forgive me.
I can see you with one beating the tambourine in church Sunday morning.
But I see Nana is on here. I did have, well, he wasn't my husband, but I actually did have somebody who was way shorter than me. And I like to wear heels, like 10 inches heels and all that kind of stuff. So when I got my heels on 10 inches, he's way taller than me. And so what he started doing was he started buying me these old grandma flat shoes. And I said, who can wear that? He said, you can wear them. So he went and bought me shoes, but they weren't high heels. They were shoes so that I could be on his level. So I stuck with him because I loved him. But I mean, it didn't work out, but it wasn't about that. I just kind of just adjusted. So, you listen, we really honestly don't know what kind of package that God is going to send our mate in. And that's why I asked the question a while ago. Like, is God waiting on us? Because if we're saying we're waiting on God, if I'm saying I'm waiting on God, I'm waiting on my spouse, and God knows what I need, and then He sends me something that I really don't like, I don't like the look of it. Is it me? It is me. Because He may have everything that I need in that little teeny tiny Cracker Jack box. What's your thoughts? I'm mad that both of y'all got quiet. I'm mad that both of y'all got quiet.
My thought is this. Now, again, we always got to go back to the word. He said He give you the desire of your heart, and
Okay.
my heart does. And I promise you, my heart does not desire to roll over to something that I can't look at in the morning.
Lord, thank you.
I'm sorry. If God
Well,
don't like ugly, and neither do I.
But what if the desire of your heart is she's beautiful, but she can't cook? She's beautiful, but she's beautiful, but she don't want to be touched. She's beautiful, but she don't know how to pray. She's beautiful, and she don't know how to communicate. That's but the desire of your heart is for her to be beautiful.
That's not the only desire.
Well, that's why you need to make sure that you put it before God exactly in detail of what you want.
Absolutely.
Eric, why are you looking like that?
And no, she ain't necessarily got to cook because I can handle that.
Okay, I can cook, but I don't like to cook. I like to eat though. But I'm saying all that now. I don't have a husband. I'm saying all that right now. Because I know most men that I had, listen, that's one thing, that's an area I need to work on because and my best friend is on there. Like the guys that I had, I cooked all the time. And they would come home they was living with me, but they would come home and the food is cold. And I said to my mom, I'm not cooking for another nigga unless it's my husband. But that, that what I'm saying, that's just hurt. That was just hurt. That's hurt talking. And I probably will do it, but that's just hurt. So that's just a small, somebody else might say, oh, that's a small area, but that's an area that I got to make sure that I get healed and delivered in before he comes along, because he might want me to cook all the time. And I probably will. I'm quite sure. Listen, I'm quite sure I will. Listen, my man is going to be happy. I promise you that. I got a little excited about it. Okay, so let me go to the next question. So it said, are you waiting on God for a mate? So what does waiting look like to you guys? What does waiting look like? Just sitting and twiddling your thumbs, or I mean, it's kind of different because you guys are the ones who can go and find a mate if we're going to do it biblically. So what does waiting look? What does a woman? Wait, let me back up. Do you want a woman that's waiting on God for you?
That actually depends, because everybody's weight is different. Some people's weight is, what I mean, uh, I'm not dating at all. I'm waiting to hear from God. Period. Then somebody else's weight is more like, you know what? I have no problem going out. I have no problem hanging out, or whatever the case is, and let's see if there's something there, so that so that I have something to go to God about. You know, mm, it's great to hear. It's great to hear that. Hey, what I mean, I'm waiting on the Lord and what have you. But again, I mean, there's some things that we have to do in the process.
Mm.
I'm out here I mean, I'm out here working and grinding. I mean, there's some goals and things that I am, I mean, working towards. So it's like I wouldn't the same way I wouldn't expect that woman to stop everything that she's trying to do and trying to accomplish in life just so we can start dating or what have you. I don't want her to expect that from me. You know what I mean? I don't want her to expect me to stop doing everything that I'm doing uh, just to date you.
Okay, I got a question for you, but I want to hear Eric's response.
I hope you're ready. What's the question?
I already asked you to.
Oh, about the wait, about the waiting thing. About the waiting thing.
Yeah. What
Yeah,
does
I'm not
waiting
waiting.
look like to you?
I'm not. I'm not. I don't do no waiting. I'm sorry.
That's why you. That's why your flesh all caught up now.
Yes, it's called up. It's called up. Yes,
So
I'm not
wait,
doing the waiting.
okay, because I'm
But
gonna
seriously,
ask you a question about that. Okay.
go ahead.
So you say you're not waiting. You don't want to wait.
I'm not. I'm not waiting. I'm tired of waiting. I'm
Okay.
getting
All right. So
older.
let me.
I'm getting older. So I know what I want and what I don't want, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. So
Don't
with that
nobody
being
want your
said,
nasty package. Like
okay.
if you not gonna
Uh,
wait on, if you're not waiting and you just dating
listen,
any and everybody, nobody want that nasty mess, them leftovers.
first of all, I'm not dating any and everything. I do have standards, okay, and I do have class. Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So
I got you.
with that being said, I will wait to a certain extent, but once again, as the dominant man, I know what I want, what I don't want. So when that time comes, I will approach the individual and we'll take it from there.
Okay, all right. So listen, I got two questions, and then we were really waiting for Dr. Hightower. I'm unsure whether I'm waiting for him to come in. So if he doesn't come in, then we'll have to do it another day. I do know he had some things that he had to do, and he said he was going to come for the ones who are on for him. But I have two more questions, but I want to answer this real quick. Blessings. So we have a guest who said, "Does age matter? Does age matter? Does age matter? Age doesn't matter for me. I dated them under me. Not kid. I don't be rocking them cradles. Cradle. I'm going to jail, so I don't do that. And I've dated them. I think the oldest I dated may have been 60. He was an older guy. He was a pastor, and he wasn't healed nor delivered, and he had the mind of a 10-year-old. So I don't think I really I listen. So does age matter to you guys?
To me, yes. I kind of have a window uh, that's basically about 10 years in either direction.
And God said He
Um,
gonna bring your wife at 72. She gonna be 72.
and here's the reason why. Again, because we're talking compatibility. Sometimes we have to be in the same. We have to be in the same space, and you know, a 20 something still want to go skating, and and I want to chill at the house because I don't work all week. You know, and then you have someone that's in their 60s or 70s. And granted, there are, as they say, there are exceptions to the rule, but for the most part, somebody in their 60s and 70s, they're not interested in doing the things I want to do. Man, the rare essence reunions coming up. I want to go. Somebody in their 60s and 70s, they ain't going for nothing like that.
So wait a
They
minute.
don't want to hear that loud music.
So
But
let
go
me
ahead
let
with
me
the
say
crank.
something
But go ahead with the
because
crank.
because if God forbid, but if I'm not married when I'm 60, I don't want anybody thinking like that because I won't have a spouse. That's not fair.
Well, you ain't
No,
got too much longer
again,
to hit
I'm
I
60.
not
don't.
saying
I really don't.
if you 60 and some 25-year-old comes along,
I'm
you
jumping
get
on that boat. I'm getting on that boat. I'm getting at 60, and I
I,
still got to go. Holly, you say what you want. Listen, you ain't gonna be
it's
my
it's
rocking chair and my stroller. I don't care what y'all say. I'm
mm,
saying that now. That's
it's
right.
something about
Hey, Stella.
it's something about I met a young lady that was gorgeous. But when I found out that she was like 25, I was like, I can't do that. My daughter's 22. I
My
can't do
girl
that.
on here. My
Oh
girl
Lord.
Yeah, I'm great. I'm
I'm
great with
okay.
listening
all.
to y'all.
I'm great.
About
I'm
I'm great
I'm
with
listening
just
to
all.
saying, I'm
y'all.
sorry.
age.
That's just me. I got a 22-year-old daughter, and something about that just don't, yeah, that don't work for me.
You're going to jail. You are a man of God, you will go to jail. Well, what about Eric? What about you? Does age matter? I don't know who asked that, but that was a good question. What does
Um,
age matter?
it does. Like Elder Carter said, you got that 10 year to 15 year window, one way or the other. It just depends on um, the age, the outer appearance, because I like a cute in the face, thick in the waist. So
Well,
you got to add all that in. You know what I mean? The age, the
Okay.
body. You know what I
he
mean? The
didn't say nothing.
mindset,
He say nothing about God. You don't got to be saved. You
the
don't got no
mind,
Jesus.
the mind, the body, and the soul. Like you said earlier, you got to have it all. You got to have a total package. Because I don't want to be doing a wrestling.
Rugal.
I don't want to have to become a bodybuilder. None of that type stuff. So you got to be under my weight, and I'm 286 right now. So I don't want nobody bigger than me. Sorry,
Well,
I ain't gonna be able to work.
she might not want a big guy.
Well,
She might not
well,
want someone like you.
when that's her loss. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna be big forever. That's for sure. You know what I mean? Know that.
Okay.
You know,
All
I'm
right, and
loser,
that.
honey.
All right, and
Uh,
that.
yes, to me it matters. My oldest son is 30. I don't want nobody around my children's age. What I look like bringing them to my children and oh, this is so and so, and they say how old is he, and I tell them their age. What that? What?
As a husband.
Yeah, we're
Okay,
not doing that.
so all right, so listen, Nanette, welcome. You're not gonna be on here
Hello.
long. but
I
welcome.
saw
All
her.
right. All right. So my next question is, sex before marriage. So for those who are just joining the show, this is a very transparent show, and we talk about what you don't talk about, but we talk about either what you're doing or what you're thinking
Not
about
the
doing.
last, my lord.
Okay. So the question is sex before marriage. I'll start. I don't want to have sex before marriage. I know what I'm working with. I know what I can do. I know how I can please him. I don't need to exercise. I don't need to do that. It's so much more in the package that I desire and I want to know about, because I want the, as Nana, as my dad would say, I want the fireworks, the stripes and circle and stars. I want all. I don't know what made him say that on that show, but he said that. But I want all that. I desire all of that. So no, I don't think I would want. I wouldn't want now. Let me back up. Now I'm going to want to make sure that he is capable of sustaining. I want to make sure, I want to make sure of that. I want to make sure that he wants me and not my brothers. I want to make sure of that. And so you may say, well, how will you know that? Listen, we women, we know that. So sex before marriage for me is a no. Not, most people can be deep and say scripture because the Bible says so and all that. Listen, y'all having sex anyway. So, I just want to make sure that this is who I'm supposed to be with. So it's no need me giving up the goods and then you're not who's supposed to be with. No, we're on lockdown over here in Delaware. We're on lockdown. Okay, so Eric, and just be honest, which I know y'all will. Sex before marriage, desire, don't
Absolutely.
desire, and why?
Absolutely. I got to test the waters because you might be sandpaper, and I'd be disappointed. And I'm like, oh no, we gotta get out Norman ASAP. You know, you know what I mean?
But you
No,
do know that marriage is more than.
in all seriousness, in all seriousness, right now, just, I would have to test the waters. But maybe when I grow more spiritually, I will want to wait. But me personally, I'm a man. I'm different than a lot of other men. I can tell whether it's going to be good or not, or whether you are capable of satisfying me just by looking at you. So I wouldn't have that issue honestly. And all it's just
Well,
a gift that
I
I
want to,
have.
I want to say this, Eric, and I hope it doesn't mess up your game. But I've known you for years. I hope this don't mess up your game. But knowing you and knowing that you are a man that if someone gives you a one night stand, or if someone gives up the cookies right then, you totally is just like, no, that's not my wife. So why is that? Explain that. I mean, I understand. Explain that, like, because some women think that they have to give up the cookies in order to get the man, and most men are thinking if you're that fast to give it up, you're not wife material. Go ahead and explain. What is going on? Every single Carter. Every time I ask him a good question, it messes up. that,
Uh,
that devil
yeah, he
said, "Oh
won't.
no, you're not gonna expose him."
He's on mute again.
You're on
Um,
mute.
It's still on mute.
Thing.
Okay. I can't hear him. It went out. Joe, I can come back in. Y'all see how he got exposed just like that? All right, Carter. Go ahead. Sex before marriage or not?
no. Um, and I think I shared this on the show before. Um, because I've done it the other way so many times, and it never panned out to be. You know what I mean? So it's like this go around, and it's my desire to do it God's way, because I'm expecting God's results.
That's good, Carter. That's good. That's good. So just I want to read this comment before Eric responds. Pastor Slaughter said, if you're willing Hold on. I don't know. I don't. I don't know what that. Wait a minute. Pastor Slaughter.
She
Pastor
put in
Slaughter.
there
What we
what
got?
she
I
put
don't know.
in that. She put in there what she mean by that.
Oh,
Okay,
She
so
in the
okay,
parentheses.
so if you're willing, I look. I don't even want to read it. Pastor Slaughter.
It
It
took and
says if you're
said.
willing, Pastor Slaughter.
It took and said. If
Okay, so it
you
says it says if you're willing to eat, have sex before marriage, then you should be willing to keep. And that makes sense.
keep eating,
Going back to Eric. Respond to that because like that's a thing of he's serious about that. He's like if that individual
she
um
disappeared again.
okay, all right. So she said eat meaning have regular sex, you called it cookies. Okay, I got you. I got you. Sorry about that, Pastor Carter. I was just like, we in 2022, man. Wait a minute. Okay, so look, Eric is coming back in. So I was saying that he's very adamant that if like he's got, and I seen it with my own eyes. I seen these women, and he don't have to work hard. And he's like, if he's with that individual like that same night, or either he's with them, no relationship, and sometimes he don't even have to ask. He like they not marriage material, but yet he take the cookies. All
They
right, so
giving them out for free.
Eric, do y'all see this? Y'all see this with your own eyes, right?
well, I would simply say this much: if she don't value it, why should I?
So, but the same thing, it would go for you as well. Because if you lay down with the individual that same night, the same thing. What's the
Well,
difference?
again, I grew up old school. I could hear my grandmother saying now, yeah, uh, man is supposed to respect the woman, but a woman's supposed to give the man something to respect.
I agree with that. Yep. I definitely agree. I agree with that. I agree with that. And it's not, it's, you know how they say all men want one thing. That's not true. That's definitely not true. I think that some of our women's, our perspective or perception is wrong of what we think a
Oh,
man wants. So we're revealing things, you're showing everything because you're trying to seduce him. Just be honest. You're trying to seduce him. You're trying to get his attention. Listen, and you may get his attention, and he may end up having
But the
sex,
wrong kind of attention.
and he may end up having sex with you. But I promise you, he'll marry the neighbor before he marry you. He'll marry the girl next door before he marries you. All right, Carter, I see you. What?
uh,
What?
and,
What?
and something else you just said, you was like, a lot of times the women think that that's what a man wants. A lot of times women think that because of trauma. They've been through certain things, whether as young girls, and after what they've been through, they really believe that's what a man wants. And a lot of times, you'll find that that woman, if she's interested in that man, the first thing she's going to try to do is try to give him something because she figures that that's the only way to get him and to keep it, not realizing that the man who really wants you and wants to hold on to you, uh, he likes to see the fact that you value yourself.
Mm-hmm.
He likes to see the fact that, because again, if you give it to me easy, I'm thinking that I know I ain't the first dude you to come across.
So that's true, Carter. And you know what? I just realized that, listen, God gave me this rose petal, and He gave me this whole garden. And this garden is what you want. I mean, you might want some other things, but let's be honest. It's called Keep It 100. You want this garden. You want this rose petal, or I used to, how I used to say, you want this peach. And so if you want this peach, make sure that peach is so up high that he'll climb up to get it. Don't just bring it down and give it to him all the time. So when you realize that you can keep this on lockdown and you can cause a man to know you mentally and everything else, and then make him I don't want to give too much, but just make him want it. I know we should be doing this spiritual, but people aren't really doing spiritual. But if you put that first, once he get it, he's gonna get it. He's gonna enjoy it, but he's not really gonna want you. And somebody may say, well, that's not all true. Yeah, it is true because your whole relationship is based upon the sexual desire or the flesh. That what? That's just my thought. That's just my, and I've been there. I'm not saying that I never messed up. I have messed up, and guess what? That's why I'm 52 and still not married. Well, that's not really why, but you know what I mean. But when I learned, but listen, but when I learned that, wait a minute, no, I have control over this. Like, so learn to discipline it, learn to sustain, learn to get you. I make people know me right here. Like, you know what I mean? Because what you present, what you give them is they're gonna take it. And you gotta be honest nowadays, it ain't even really the men.
It's
The
the women.
men. It's the hot behind women seducing the men. Listen, because this real talk, I'm gonna let you in, Aaron. Um, I had a couple friends, and I used to do it myself, but I had a couple friends, couple women who would, oh, let's just lay together with no clothes on. And then as soon as he tried to make a pass, you all wounded and offended and can't believe that he tried to get some. But
You open the door.
Here.
You open the door wide open. You took the locks off and everything. The door handle, everything.
Yeah, you can't do that and then get upset and play wounded because he tried to get some. You want everybody, listen now, I don't do it, but I'm strong when it comes to cuddling. And I know y'all, the scripture, I know all y'all church people out there, you shouldn't do this. Well, I have not always crossed every T and dotted every I. I messed up, and I messed up a lot. And when I messed up, I learned to share and to testify about it. I'm just saying it don't work. It does not. You cannot. I'm a very strong person when it comes to that. You know, being able to lay and not all that kind of stuff. But the person you're with, you got to be considerate of that person that you're with because they may not even be able to do it. So the bottom line is sustain from it. Run, Forrest, run, get out of there. Don't even set yourself up for failure because listen, it don't matter how strong you think you are. The enemy is cunning and the enemy is wise, and he will set you up. Nanette?
I say no because like Carter said, I've tried it. It doesn't work. And if that's what your relationship is built on, when you get married, Lord forbid, something would happen and you can't have sex. What do you have left to work with?
What you got?
What you got left to work with?
But you know what? And because I used to be that kind of person, and my dad was like, "No, you got to get delivered. You got to get healed because marriage is not really about sex at all." And he said, "What?" My dad said, "What happens if he cannot get aroused? If he can't?" I said, "Dad, I tell you what. He better take 2 popsicle sticks or something, and he better try to get." And you know, and my dad was like, my dad said, "No, Shell, you got to be delivered and you got to be healed." I had the wrong perception of how marriage is and what it is about. But I wanted to put that up there a while ago because she said, "And men, stop sharing your sausage." I'm just saying. So I mean, but if you learn to discipline yourself, if you learn to sustain, in my mind, I'm always thinking, if I mess up, what did that mean? If I mess up, what if the rapture takes place? If I messed up, I wonder if he's recording me. I wonder if he'll expose me. Listen, I mean, I know we should be saying what the scripture says that, you know, I'm not fornicating, but I'll be creating all this stuff in my mind because right after that firecracker moment, that person might not want, he might be like I don't know where Eric went to, but he might be like another Eric, not want anything to do with you. And then you done just sabotage what could have been possibly your future husband over 8 minutes.
Listen, I am, and I'm proud to say it, I'm 48 years old. I'm going to be 49 years old next week. I don't have the energy to keep wasting to give somebody what it's supposed to belong to the man I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. That you keep giving it to all these people, you're gonna be all used up by the time the person get. No, I don't have the energy to keep doing that.
Yeah.
I don't. It's just not in me anymore. I can't. And then you
Yeah.
waste your time, and then you may not even get the thrill you was looking for.
And even if you go, Carter, I'm gonna let you in, but even if you go a little bit deeper, I had to do this. That's why, because I used to think, because I was raped and because I was molested, I used to think that having sex meant I love you. That's not what it means. Like the act of having sex meant he loved me, or him touching me meant he loved me. And so I had to go back in my past, like way in my past, when I was a little kid, when I had been raped and when I had been molested and all that kind of stuff. And I literally had to get healed from that. You know what I mean? Because I was craving for something that didn't mean anything. That makes sense. That makes sense. I was craving for something that didn't mean anything because this is what I was familiar with. And so that's why I was very promiscuous. I all I wanted to do was I wanted to experience what I thought was love or feel what I thought was love. And then when I got healed and delivered and realized that was not the definition of love, then I look at it another way. Because if something happens, and like you said earlier, and he has an accident or she has an accident and they can't use that anymore, what do I have? What do we have? What is our relationship? What is our marriage built on if we don't have that? So watch out for them people that just gotta touch you. Watch out for them people that just want to be intimate with you. Like, no, you command more in this relationship than just, I know what I can bring, but I need to make sure that in case something happens and I can't bring it, then I still got something to give you. Carter, what's your thoughts?
Well, I take that one step further. It always has to be something that happens to you. Let's look at the fact of uh, you get married with one another. Sex the last thing you think about. And for real, what I mean, I've I've seen an experience where, what I mean, that individual who you couldn't get enough of, what I mean, when you realize certain things about them, it can get to the point where you look at that individual with disgust and disdain, and the thought of them touching you or what have you is, what I mean, is not appealing at all.
Lord help me. I don't know nothing about that. I do. Oh God, I don't want to ever experience
I
that.
do. I do.
Listen, hold on, wait,
I
hold on,
do.
then I'm gonna let you talk. But I'm not married. I've never been married. Both of y'all been married before. But listen, the thought of waiting all this long time and then having a bad argument and I don't want to have sex. Oh, I could pass out right here on the floor. I could just pass out right in the floor. I done waited all that long time, and then you mad with me, and you don't want to give me that. Oh, that's gonna be a whole problem. I'm a manifest. Anyway, go ahead, Nanette. Go ahead.
I can second what Carter is talking about. Um, I'm telling you, it's like it almost disgusts you and makes you nauseated for that person to touch you when you learn, instead of taking the time to learn those things about that person before you got married or before you got involved in a relationship. It gets to the point where that person, it disgusts you for you to touch them. It's like you can't even be in the same room with them.
Wow.
Like, get away from me. Don't touch me. Don't say nothing to me. Go wherever.
So that is a form of control. So I got one more question. Listen, I want to say this because I just got tickled. I thought it was funny. I just got a text that said, "This is some after-hour conversation." So listen, so we might, and we're so used to having this conversation amongst each other. So I guess to us, it's just like everyday talk. But if you really think about it, it is some heavy talk because people are doing it but nobody wants to talk about it. And I just think before marriage, like you really need to make sure that you've walked through some areas in your life where you go through the deliverance process. Because listen, I know of some people, I can't imagine it. That's why I said I've done a lot of work, because I can't imagine not wanting my husband to touch me because he touches me the way that my violator touched me. That means that I didn't get delivered before, and it's out there a lot. They didn't get delivered or walk through the healing process before they got married, and they've taken it, and I don't say baggage lightly, but they take the baggage of what has happened to them before. Instead of dealing with it, they take it into a marriage, and they're making that this individual who they love, this individual who they waited so long for, this individual who is their mate, they're treating them as they did something wrong to them. Like, listen, my mother, I don't share this a lot. I don't share, and I don't mind, because this was going to be one of my questions. What if in their past, if your wife had been with women before? What if your husband had been with men before? Look, I know y'all don't talk about it. I know people don't talk about it. But what if that happened? What if that happened? You know what I mean? So now are you and they got delivered, or they got delivered, and they're no longer that. But are you intimidated by that? So my mother said to me one time before, because I was molested by my cousin, which was a girl, a lady. At the time, I was younger, and I was watching Oprah. I share this a lot. I was watching Oprah, and it came on. Some man had molested his daughters, and they were going through it up on that stage. They were really broken. And I'm like, oh my God, I remember. Oh my God, I remember. So I called my mom. I think I might have been 25, 30, something like that. Call my mom, and I'm like, I remember. She said, you remember what? And I told her I was molested, and I was molested by my cousin. My mother's words to me was, well, I'll let her share that. But it was a generational thing. I'll just say that it was a generational curse in that family. And so my mother said, Shell, you need to deal with it. Why God just brought it to the surface? You need to deal with it. You need to deal with it, because if you don't deal with it now, it'll manifest. I hope I'm helping somebody. I promise you. If you don't deal with it now, it will manifest later on in life. I'm like, and I know she's an awesome prophetess and all that. I'm like, this woman does not know what she's talking about. And so guess what I did? I suppressed it. But I've blessed very all this stuff, all these other spirits that were already going on with me. And so I went through some things in life, and as soon as I hit a low point in my life, guess what happened? Yep. I ended up, God knows I must be helping somebody else, because this ain't something that I would just share. I ended up with
she don't share it. Let's God tell her to. I'm gonna tell y'all.
No, I ended up being with a woman. Now, mind you, it was 3 times, but we were in a union for 6 months, and I hated the church. I literally hated the church. I hated men because I had been raped and molested. I had just lost my son, so it was a lot of stuff that was going on with me, and I was grieving when she kissed me the first time. And listen, that's the real talk. She was an evangelist of the Lord's church. She was a whole evangelist of the Lord's church. And I didn't know that she had been with women in her past, her whole entire life. I didn't. I hadn't been with no woman. I love men, all that. But that low moment and doubt and all that kind of stuff, that's not what made me do it. But I'm saying all of those spirits and me not dealing with the main spirit. And I was grieving over my son, and she hugged me to try to embrace me and be there for me because I was grieving. And she leaned over and she kissed me. I said out of my mouth, oh my God, I'm gay. Oh my God, I'm gay. Oh, and I just kept saying it out loud. Oh my God, I'm gay. I'm gay. And then there was a part of me, now I'm curious. And she, she was like, oh, I'm so sorry. She knew what she was doing. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't
Yes, she did.
da da da. But that spirit of perversion and lust and all that kind of, because listen, y'all, honey, and I was in church, but I had a lot of stuff going on, and so now I'm wanting to know. And one thing led to the other. I mean, not me. I just received it. You know what I'm saying? But I said all that to say I did not go into that relationship for sex because I'd never been with a woman. And it did nothing, it literally did nothing for me. So I mean, y'all, I ain't gay. That was my only encounter. I don't want a woman, I want a man. And this was over 20 years ago. I'm
Yes,
just
she's not gay.
no, I'm just sharing it because I feel led to, and I don't know why. People are viewing, I don't know who's viewing, but I feel it heavy on me. So I did not go into that because of the sex. I went into it because I was looking for companionship. And I think at that time I was just saying, I just want a friend. I want people to understand me. I hate the church. I hate these people. And that just like the Lord heard me, the devil heard me. And I believe he created boom this in a woman's she'll probably come out, I don't know what happened, in a woman's form. I say all that to say, what if the person that God brings your way has in their past been with a man or been with a woman? What does that look like? And they've been delivered. Because listen, I ain't never since then, I never desired, matter of fact, I was scared for the longest time. But that's now part of my testimony. You know what I mean? And I only share God given, and then I have ministered, I've and preached about it, and in the middle of my preaching, the Lord snatched me, and I had to share that. So what if what if the package that God gives you is wrapped in, and this is part of their past? What does that look like to you?
Well, I can't speak to uh, that in that sense. Um, but I did date a lady. Matter of fact, some matter of fact, we're more serious than that. I mean, we're in a serious relationship. Um, and what happened was I found a trigger by accident
By
because
accident.
yes, because she had been molested as a girl um, by a family member, and that particular family member drove a truck, and it was an older truck. So one day, she went to work with me one day, and um, and I wasn't driving my truck. I had an older truck that I had to drive, and the smell from the oil triggered
That's
her.
good. Wow.
And I'm riding along wondering why she's so quiet, why she's curled up against the door. I'm like, what the world's going on? And then when she began to share with me what she had dealt with, and she was like, she just came out and said, the smell in that truck just brought back everything. So this is where when you talk about doing the work and having done the work and having gotten healed and delivered in certain areas, I'm here to tell you that there are still areas
Mm-hmm.
because some things don't get exposed until a situation calls for it. I said that young lady, I had known her for years and never knew about this until that particular moment when that scent triggered her, and all of a sudden the person who I couldn't get off of me is on the other side, curled up in the corner, and I'm like, what in the world's going on?
And it had
You know
nothing
what
to
I mean?
do
So
with you.
so so whether it be a woman, a man, or what have you, there are some traumas and there are some triggers that some like just like you were watching TV and it popped up. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? You would you weren't thinking about the situation. Something brought it to you,
Right.
and a
And
lot
I
of times,
have actually suppressed it all those many years. And that's what I'm saying. We suppress stuff and we don't deal with it. We don't talk about it. We don't share. We go on our way. I'm saved, sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost. But yet there's a hidden whatever, I'll say that there's a hidden gap in my heart that I don't want to talk about. And my mother, the first thing she said was, and I was 25 then, when this happened, I may have been maybe 30 something. You see what I'm saying? So when my mother said, "Shall deal with it now," why it's to the surface, I just pushed it right back in its department where it was. And I think if I had dealt with it right then it would have never came. This I still say, regardless of what all things, God knows what's going to happen before it happens. I just, and it had to happen for a reason. That's not a good story, but it had to happen for a reason. And I'm always sharing with people, listen, I am an example that God can deliver you with no residue at all. Because I've had a lot of people say, oh my God, if you didn't share that story, I would have never known. Listen, I'm a prime example that you can be delivered. I'm talking about totally delivered with no residue. It can happen. All right. So my question on the floor again: what if in their past they share with you, back in the day, I used to be with. I mean, for a man, it's different because a man probably be like, "Oh, I don't care. Yes, come on, let's do this." But for a woman, like let's be honest, most men are excited about it. But for a woman, Nana, what would be your response?
It would take lots of prayer and lots of knowing that
Wait,
is who
but
God
what I'm
wants
saying,
me to
and for a shadow of a doubt, this is who you're supposed to be with. That's the catcher.
God gonna have to help me. That's all I gotta say.
God. All right, so listen.
I'm just being honest because, Lord,
it's something to think about. It's something to think about because if we're saying we're waiting on God, we're waiting on God. I'm waiting on God, and God brings you your mate.
Lord, please don't do that to me.
And this is
Lord, please.
Listen, like real talk, and this is the package. This is their past, and this is what they've experienced, and this is what they've been through. But yet God is saying, and you're not waiting on God to speak. You know that this is the one for you, and God delivers this as a gift. And we're sitting on the other side, and we're like, I don't know. Now God's waiting on you because He's done delivered the goods. Okay, their package, their past looks like, well, they used to be a womanizer, or they were a cheater, or they used to steal, and that was their past. And God has cleaned that individual up, and He's told. I'm not talking about I'm waiting on God and I'm waiting to see. I'm talking about God comes down and said, "This is the one that goes for you. This is." And I know people are like, well, God won't speak to you. He'll let you know. In detail whether that connection is there. But if the package looks opposite of what you want, do you receive it? How do you handle that?
That is something to think about. That is something to really, really think of, especially for, like you said, for men, it may be different because, but for a woman, knowing that her man has been in a duty shoot, that's something to think about.
This is Keep It 100. I cannot stand you. Like, I'm just like, I be asking the Lord, like, because we do not know what God, because listen, God looks at our future together. It may be ministry together, and God is looking at all of that, and He's fixing all of that up, and He's setting it up, and then He's saying, this is the package that I've had for you. I have ordained, and this will work. And we sitting there scratching our head like, God, I don't know. I don't know about that.
If He's our will.
That's not. It's really something. Like I said, I can hear Carter now. Oh, you said you've been with a woman. Yes. The being is that. What is that scripture? The being is what is it? The being is undefilable. What is that scripture? I can see Yes.
The marriage bid is undefiled. You know better.
Yeah, I can see Carter
Uh,
there. All
but
right,
you know
guys.
what?
Okay, go
I
ahead.
think
Go ahead,
I,
Carter.
I will say this. Again, because it's not been my personal experience, but I know someone that went through that, and um, it is always in the back of your mind. You know what I mean? Granted, you know what I mean, they can tell you that they've delivered, they can tell you that that everything is all good and gravy, but it does plant a seed of doubt in the back of your mind consistently. And even to the point where when they have certain friendships and what have you, you know what I mean, has you wondering, you know what I mean, have they relapsed? Are they just friends or are they
But
friends?
Carter, think about it though. That's not them. That's you. That's you. That's not them. If they've been delivered, like okay, I've been delivered. No, I'm not talking about no dipping and diving. Like I've been delivered over 20 years flat. No desire, no
Right, right.
pullback, no fallbacks, no nothing. You know what I mean? And so if I'm with my spouse and I love him and I'm there for him and he's having doubt in his mind, that's not me. That's something he's going through. That don't have anything to do with me. That was
Well,
good
I,
running.
I
That
said
was good running.
I,
That was
I said that like I said again because of this particular situation that um, this individual had been in, and then you know what I mean they get together, get married, and then you know what I mean go through a little rough patch, and next thing you know he finds out that um, you know what I mean that this person supposed to be her friend is more than a friend.
but
And, and
that may not happen. That's just something that I mean
no,
that I know
but
that has happened,
but
but it may.
I'm saying that because now even though in that situation, you know, what I mean they've gone on and you know, what I mean I think they're still together, what have you. But if I talk to that brother, uh, every now and again it still comes up because he's still, you know, what I mean it's like I say, it's in the back of their mind. You know, what I mean you create some doubt, and uh, could they be delivered? Could they be totally changed now? Absolutely, they can be. Uh, but again, that's another. You know, what I mean, that's just another worry.
Carter, I'm sorry. I hate to knock. I hate to keep knocking on your door. That is you. It's not the individual. That's something within. And I'm not saying you per se. I'm saying in general. That's something within in that. You know what I mean? Because it. Okay, if I'm with someone who always was a cheater, and I've been cheated on in my life, and I haven't got past that area, then any little sign or residue that he does or whatever, I'm going to think that he's cheating on me. That's me. That, you know what I mean? Like, even though I wasn't the cheater, it may be some residue. I know I'm not talking crazy, but it may be some residue of healing that needs to take place within me. Because listen, if I have doubt in this individual that I know that God sent to me, it could damage the relationship because there's some insecurity that I got going on. The person ain't showed me nothing, but I'm just thinking it because of what I've experienced. Nanette, talk to me. You understand what I'm saying? If I go in thinking that, or even if I have a rush patch, and the first thing I'm thinking about, I wonder if, but
Yeah.
he's never done it. He's never gave me no sign, but I'm thinking it. Then do I really trust the process of deliverance? Because if God can deliver me in its fullity, and I don't go back, how come He can't do it for the other individual?
And that goes back
I
to,
can deliver people for real.
yeah, that goes back to the person who is doing that has still not healed all the way. If you see that, because that's what happens when you've not taken time to really heal and you're not delivered totally. When that person does something that reminds you of what the other person did, and it just reminds you of it, it's not saying that that person is actually doing it. I'm telling y'all something. The mind is an amazing thing, but it is a dangerous thing because your mind can have you thinking all sorts of stuff, and that is not even the case. And that is because we've not been healed, delivered, and set free from past things that have happened to us. If and I'm gonna tell you, if you're not healed, set free, or delivered, don't you dare get into a committed relationship, because you will bring that stuff to the relationship and it's going to cause tons of problems.
Yeah, and then you may put the finger on the other person and say it's not working because this person, this person. No, probably because you still have memory of what has happened to you, and you're thinking that I'm doing it just in a conversation, and every time we're talking, and it seems like you're accusing me of something. That don't have anything to do with me because I'm not doing it. It's whatever you remember. It's whatever you didn't let go. It's whatever has happened to you, and we do that to people do that to people when they get married, so that's something to even deal. I don't know where Nanette went to, but that's something to even deal with before you get married. Like, it's so much that single people can work on within themselves before they get married. And all you hear people say is, I want to get married, I want to get married, I want God to send me a spouse. But are you even ready? That's why the title was, are you waiting on God to bring you a mate, or is God waiting on you? Because sometimes, I know for me, I'm like, dang, Lord Jesus, it's taking so long for me to even get married. But honey boo, I wasn't ready. I looked like I was ready on the outside, but I had so much baggage. I didn't trust people. We was in Bible study, and I don't know who this guy was. It was an older man that came into our church. And so mom is one, she does a lot of demonstration. And she called me out of the crowd, out of all them people that was in there. She called me, and she randomly called this man, I think it was I don't know who this man was, but she called him. I didn't see that she called him. I just knew she called me, and I was standing up there. She called the other person's name. I heard her call the name, but I didn't know what the person looked like. And she gets in the mic and she stands in front of me, Carter, no lie. This Nanette was there, and she says, Meshell, fall back. Huh? She said, Meshell, fall back so he can catch you. I'm standing there in front of I'm standing this way. He's behind me. So no, I don't see the people who are behind me because I'm facing the front toward the pulpit. She's in the mic and she says, Shell, fall back into the sands. Carter, I lied to you not. I started shaking, anxiety. I started shaking, and tears started rolling. And I'm standing up there crying. My mother goes, she said, Shell, what are you crying for? I just said, fall back. I said, I don't know if he'll catch me. I'm scared he might drop me. And man, when I say like anxiety, I didn't even realize until that point that I didn't trust people. I didn't realize until that point that I have a problem or anxiety when it comes to me trusting people, until she called. I could not fall back in that man's arms. Something just that simple. And
Now,
God
I
showed
will
me.
say this. She got people that she knew to stand behind her,
And then
and
I
she
fell back.
fell back.
Yep. Yep. So that's why I said something just like that. It may not surface to the top, and we may not even know. Boy, I tell you, I promise y'all, like, we are ministering tonight, and nobody has to comment, nobody has to say nothing. Like, I feel God. Like, these turns that we done took in this, I know that it was God, especially that testimony. But a lot of stuff that we have inside of us, they don't surface to the top until it's low. And so I just ask the Lord, anything that needs to be brought to the surface, to the top, that I'm not dealt with in my singleness, I need you to heal me in this area. Because I would not want God to give me a gift, a perfect gift, and then I mess it up because of baggage or old relationships. Oh, if you've been in old relationship, old marriages, and if you have not dealt with that, it is unfair for you to bring it into another marriage or another relationship. That is so unfair, because you might go into it and everything is all happy, but what if she says something like no, and you just go off. My wife used to tell me no, and ain't no another woman gonna tell me no. No, that's not fair. That's not fair. Am I talking right?
Yeah.
All right, so
Absolutely.
I'm gonna go ahead and I, I know we're talking good. We may have to do a part two. I may have to bring some other friends on with this because we can go really really deep on this. We have talked about a lot of stuff, but as I always do, give you my platform. I want you to minister to someone out there and share with them how important it is to wait on God and to deal with. You can word it in any way that you want to word it, but this is what the message I want to get out. Like, it is important to wait on God, to wait on God for real. Because if you jump ahead of him, you could cause chaos. You could literally make a mess of something that God has given you. You could make a mess by jumping ahead of him, by jumping into it too fast, and you're not all the way healed and not all the way delivered. You want to have sex and you want to beat the woman in her face. That's rape, boo. That's rape. And but it happens.
Wow.
It happens. You go too far and it happens. It's a lot of people. It's some people that's in churches with their spouses and they're literally being raped, but he don't think it is.
because it's his wife, and he said that she should give him some, so she should give it to him.
And if she's saying no, he, and not just men, women do it too. If they say no, they take it anyway. That's rape. But minister to that individual and share with them how important it is to be healed and delivered before you go into a marriage or even a relationship. I'm gonna start with Carter, and then Nana, you can go. All right.
Wow. Okay. I will simply say this: a premature blessing is a curse in disguise. When you get anything that you're not prepared for, that you're not ready for, then you will abuse it and misuse it. Um, Whether that be a spouse or what have you. So it's important to not just wait on God, but it's important to deal with who you are, find out for yourself who you are, um, become confident in who you are, um, be able to stand on your own 2 feet of who you are. Because as long as you're insecure, as long as you're dealing with insecurities and what have you, you'll never be what that other individual needs to have a successful relationship. Because there'll always be questions in your mind. There'll always be issues. There'll always be jealousy. There's just so many things that come along with this that if we don't deal with some things in our singleness, that we will come together with someone, and two broken people uh, do not make a whole.
Um, I'll just say it like this. Um, it's important to wait on God because rushing can literally alter your destiny to make it opposite of what God has destined for you. It's important to get healed, delivered, and set free from the things of the past because you could mess up a God thing, not even just a good thing, but you could mess up a God thing. And then what He had planned for you not be the plan that it turned out to be. So make sure you're healed, delivered, and set free. And love yourself. Because until you can love yourself, you will not ever be able to properly love someone else. That's it.
All right, hold on. Let me get you off of here. Okay, so I'm not gonna put myself out there, but I will say something real short. Um, you don't want to sabotage what God has blessed you with. If it's a gift from God and you walk in it not healed, not whole, not delivered, I'm not saying you will, but it could be a possibility that you could sabotage it, sabotage your blessing. Um, know your self worth. Um, again, it's so very important to. Now, I don't know whether you'll be completely healed and whole when you get married. That may not be the case, but I would say work on what you can work on. Work on what you can work on being this time that you're single. A lot of people say I'm single, I'm single, I'm single, but they're not really single. They're still attached. You're still attached to John, Dick, Mary, Sally, emotionally. Pull back and get disconnected from all those other people so that you can stand in a place where you can say, I'm single, I did the work, now I'm ready for the reward. Because guess what? If it's God, he's not gonna make a mistake with you. If it's God, he's just not going to give you a piece of mess. If it's God, he's going to make sure if you wait for God and you wait for the timing of God, I promise you, you will be blessed and you will be ready and equipped to receive and to embrace what God has for you. But if you step ahead of God, if you run ahead of God and you're not ready, you can sabotage the blessing. That's all I want to say. I love you guys. Love you guys. I don't know what happened to Carter, but I think he's gone. You guys have an amazing evening and do it on purpose. And we will see you guys next Tuesday at 8 p.m. All right.
Good night.
And don't forget to go over to Eye Eyewear and get your glasses. All right. Have an amazing night. Love you.
Meshell as she talks about life.